Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha with Ice Cream Fitness here. Alright, a lot of people are asking me lately, what lifts do I think are required? What lifts are mandatory in a program? And I want to touch upon that briefly for you guys. But hold on, let me give you guys a bicep shot first. Alright, I've often been branded online just because of my personality. I'm a very dominant alpha male, and people who know me in person and who are subscribers of mine who actually know me realize this, that it's just the way that I come across. I'm just very dominant. I am very, very assertive in my dealings with other people, and I've just always been that way. I don't really know how to be any other way. And accordingly, I come across as a bit of a hard ass on some of these topics, and it comes across as if I am saying that my way is the only way. When the reality is I don't actually believe that. It's just the way that I come across. But the truth is, I am actually a fairly open-minded person, and I do accept that different methodologies and things work, and that there are many paths to success. So let's touch upon that briefly. When it comes to just sheer hypertrophy, I actually will admit that there are no lifts that are absolutely required. You can develop good muscle size and a balanced physique with no pre-programmed lifts, literally picking lifts, and you could get two different people to pretty much the same goal without either one of them doing a single lift that the other one does, because it's just a matter of balancing everything. Now, I will say on that I personally believe that doing heavy barbell work is more efficient and easier and less prone to error than using other methods. And what I mean there is using heavy barbell movements to build most of your overall size, and then coming back behind it and rebalancing the weak points that you develop. And they're going to vary from person to person. One guy's going to get lagging biceps, another's going to get lagging delts, doing the exact same program. These are very individual things based upon genetics and insertions. But I think that particularly for beginners building their foundation, and then to some extent more advanced lifters, heavy squats, deadlifts, barbell rows, bench press, overhead press, all these basic heavy barbell compound movements are the best way to develop overall size. And it's because you hit so many different muscle groups with them. And I will be the first to admit that you can go back through, you could use a bunch of isolation movements, you could use dumbbell movements or whatever to build the same muscles up that you do with a bench press. No argument from me there. I just think that it requires less lifts and less adaptations, and it's just easier to use one movement to do most of the mass and then just come behind it and refine it a little bit to rebalance the weak points than it is to try to use 4 or 5 different lifts to achieve the same goal you could achieve with one. But you could still do it. It can absolutely be done, and that might be your preference. That might be what you enjoy. Some people like going to the gym and doing 37 different lifts. Other people have less time. They need to make more efficient use of their time, and they're going to need a lot smaller lift selection. But again, this applies more to the intermediate and the advanced lifter. The novice lifter, the more lifts you throw with them, oftentimes the slower they grow, because they're not equipped to handle high workloads of training. They don't have the training stamina, and they can only handle so many adaptations. So if you start throwing excessive variety of lifts at those individuals, they don't always adapt to all of them well, and oftentimes they end up lagging a bit in their progress. But again, for more intermediate and advanced lifters, I will say that you can do it any way that you want. It can still be achieved. Now, the other reason I do promote the use of these heavy compounds is the fact that they have so much carryover to other muscles. And people forget that chin-ups build biceps, curls build biceps, but it's the cumulative effect of your different lifts on the total stimulation, the fibers recruited, the metabolic fatigue that determine your overall hypertrophy. And what I mean there is you can build some bicep doing 5 sets of curls. You can build some bicep doing 5 sets of chin-ups. But if you do 5 sets of each, you're going to stimulate more bicep than if you had just done curls or you just done chin-ups. And people forget that all of these back movements like chin-ups, pull-ups, barbell rows, they all work the biceps. They all work the brachialis. They all work the rear delts. Now, they might not work them to the degree that you need for optimal development, and you might have to come back through and do an isolation movement for these lifts behind it, but they will handle a lot of the development. They will reduce doing a lot of these compound movements and making them the core of your training will reduce the number of different lifts that you need to do to get to your goal. And it'll reduce the number of extra hours that you have to spend in the gym to get to your goal. So it makes things more efficient. Now, if you're a strength athlete or you're some other type of athlete, you can throw this out the window because it does become very critical that all of your lifts function towards your sport specific functions. And of course, if you're a power lifter, you have to squat, bench, and deadlift. You will need specific accessories for them, but you're going to have to do the lifts that you do at actual meets. So remember, this other advice is geared towards people with aesthetic goals or bodybuilding goals more so than athletic goals. Athletic goals is it's a totally different situation. All right, guys, so I hope this has been informative, and I hope everyone realizes that at the end of the day, these things do come down to preference and style, and that for hypertrophy, some ways are more efficient than others, but no one lift is required to achieve your aesthetic or hypertrophy goals. So I hope this has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.